What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another reaction video, and here we got for you guys today why the gorilla episode of SpongeBob scared us. Man, times have changed, man. It's crazy that they're still making SpongeBob episodes. They still making SpongeBob episodes to this day. But I'm trying to remember exactly how this episode went, because the only thing I could really remember was the gorilla showing up and like splitting SpongeBob in twos and holding him side by side. Um, it was that same episode where SpongeBob didn't want to come outside, right? I think it was. He didn't want to come outside, and Sandy, Patrick, and I think I think it was mostly Sandy and Patrick trying to help him come outside. Smell the fresh air, but because he was scared of something. I forgot exactly what he was scared of. But yeah, that gorilla coming out and like pretending to be Patrick, and then that whole thing happening. That was so random. But let's see why it scared us so bad.
Based on the title and thumbnail, I'm sure many of you know which SpongeBob episode I will be speaking about. Now, the show itself is no stranger to unsettling images. Take, for example, Nosferatu at the end of Graveyard Shift.
Yep.
Or when Squidward was left to be all.
Yep. That freaked me out.
But neither of these moments struck a primal fear within me, quite like the episode I Had an Accident. So what about this episode made me run downstairs in tears as a kid whenever it came on? Well, let's find out. This episode begins with Patrick sledding down a sandhill. Now let me just say right off the bat, whenever I saw this scene as a kid, I would really start to get an uneasy feeling. I wasn't quite able to connect it to the later parts of the episode, but I do remember feeling weird whenever this scene would be on. Patrick then flies off a ramp and crashes, causing him to break into several pieces, and the word dead appears in red font above him. This already sets kind of a weird tone for the episode.
I don't remember that.
Patrick just dies within the first 30 seconds, and it's not really played for a joke. It's humor that you don't really see in the other early episodes. But it's then revealed Patrick was just playing a video game the whole time. Classic Patrick. Sandy tells Patrick to knock it off while SpongeBob is doing tricks of his own, until he starts to lose balance and sent flying as well. He lands on the ground and is shattered into pieces, and it's just another weird injury scene because he doesn't really do it comedically, and he looks like he's in genuine pain. I get that this was supposed to be a plot point and not really meant for a slapstick tone, but with a comedy like SpongeBob, you would expect that. But that's another reason why I like SpongeBob so much. It was very different from everything else at the time.
Yeah.
The Doctor informs SpongeBob that he needs to protect his butt, which was one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. What's surprising is I kind of quote this all the time, but I never really contributed it to the gorilla episode. I must have detached.
Exactly. I think that's why he was scared, because he didn't. That was such a dumb reason why he wasn't scared, and why he was scared and was trapped in that and wanted to be trapped in that house for so long. That's crazy.
Test it from my brain at some point. Oh, and Squidward walking up kills me every time.
Is this where the lines?
And because he,
in an attempt to protect his butt, decides to stay indoors where he makes quick friends with a Penny, potato chip, and used napkin. And oh boy, that voice on Penny brings tears to my eye every time.
Take it away, Penny!
But this is where my next point comes in. Just look at the lighting in these scenes. It's a lot darker than what we've seen before and in most episodes. It adds a gloominess to this moment. SpongeBob is usually this colorful, outgoing character, and now...
One thing I could say is that during this time, because this was one of like the few early episodes that came out, I feel like this one we could say scared us the most, is because that was like the first time I think that we seen SpongeBob actually like terrified and scared, and like just not really himself, as he was just saying just now. But for this to be one of the early episodes, and we already seeing SpongeBob like not really like a joyful like type spirited like person, and the show was mainly humorous to kids. This was a dark episode. I will explain. But there are worse episodes than this. There are way worse episodes than this later down the line. But this was just the first one that they just brought us to our attention. So I do agree. Like, this episode did scare us, but it wasn't the only thing that scared us, and it wasn't like the main scariest thing out of SpongeBob we was about to see, you know.
Now he's just sitting in the middle of his living room in the dark with no furniture or anything. As a kid, I remember it not really sitting right with me, and it's just another reason why this episode's so different. Patrick and Sandy, noticing SpongeBob isn't his normal self, try to find ways to make him go outside. These include ice cream, giving an old man a bath, Ferris wheels, 2 ice creams, trampolines. That's when Sandy gets the idea of putting Patrick in a gorilla suit and pretend to attack her. This would cause SpongeBob to run out and save Sandy, but he remembers that was Patrick's Halloween costume. That's when another Patrick appears on screen, shocking everyone. The real Patrick unzips his gorilla suit, which causes Sandy to ask, "Who's that?" And then...
Yeah, that was so
this
creepy.
happens.
A real gorilla? Huh?
Yeah,
Why
I'm
they
trying to
do
remember
this?
why younger me wasn't a big fan of this episode. The costume they used for this gorilla was genuinely scary, and I just think the ape noises adds to that so much. But looking back, I think what scared me the most is the level of danger Sandy and Patrick seem themselves to be in. And they're not even wrong for being scared. The gorilla puts them in a sack and starts beating on them. I
That's
also
crazy.
remember this shot very distinctly as a child. The one when SpongeBob's in his house and you can still see the gorilla outside beating up on Sandy and Patrick.
Yeah, I'm like,
It
yo.
just reminded me that the danger was never really gone and SpongeBob was going to have to go out and confront it.
Yep.
And at this point, I've seen episodes like Rock...
He even said it himself that he was gonna have to go outside no matter what because he was over here playing with them like, oh my god, bro. Had him in a second. Yeah, that's
Bottom
crazy.
Shanghai the Halloween special, and at no point did I ever fear for SpongeBob, but in this moment, I was genuinely scared for him as a kid. When SpongeBob finally decides to go outside, he's grabbed by the gorilla and torn into 2 pieces, which also just freaked me out. I mean, at this point, we're used to seeing SpongeBob detach his limbs, but this one just felt so different because it wasn't him doing it himself, and it was really played for comedic purposes. That's when SpongeBob questions what's a gorilla even doing underwater, which makes the gorilla answer, "George, they're onto us," which I remember scaring me as a kid because I thought it was weird the gorilla could speak. And then a zebra appears and they ride off into the sunset together while a The End title card appears. Fun fact, this is the only episode where a The End like that is actually shown. And it just adds to the unique and different feel of this episode, and I remember recognizing that as a kid, and I didn't really know how to handle it. I mean, from elementary school, I was a big fan of horror. It was the main type of media I consumed, and maybe this episode kind of contributed to the beginning of that. The very end of the episode, however, shows the family watching the TV in shock, and they turn off the episode, which, looking back,
that was
really
hilarious.
funny, but as a kid, just added on to this. Why are there actual people? Why are they turning off the channel? I didn't know what was going on. I talked to a couple of my friends. Why are they turning
Hold on.
channel?
Why she look familiar? Like I've seen her in like other like childhood like things. What have I seen her in? I've seen her in something. I just can't remember. But she looks familiar. She looks super familiar. Huh.
I didn't know what was going on. I talked to a couple of my friends about this episode, and they all seemed to agree with me that this episode kind of freaked them out when they were little. I've had some mention the eyes of the costume were especially creepy. The fact that they were injuring Sandy and Patrick. I've gotten a whole different reasons why this episode kind of stuck with us. So let me know in the comments, did this episode scare you guys? For what reasons? Did I bring up any points that you maybe not have thought of before? Is there anything I left out that you wish I included? Please let me know. I'm genuinely curious. Also, thank you so much for watching. This is the first video I've done like this, not really showing my face, more of a commentary than anything, so please like and subscribe if you liked the video.
That was crazy.
More content like this. I was thinking about diving into other stuff from our childhood that maybe terrified us or really stuck with us. So let me know
Let's
if you want
go.
more content
Let's
like
go.
that, and cheers.
That's gonna be fire. But yeah, I agree with him. You know, like that episode was different. It was like the first times we actually seen SpongeBob actually scared, terrified, in a different light than him being himself. But let's be honest, there's episodes that came after that was way more like weird, way more terrifying, and like just so outright like unexplainable. Like there's some episodes popping into my head that I'm remembering that's like, that one's worse than this one. I just don't remember the names of them, but they're definitely there's episodes that's way worse than this one. So yeah, it does like that those type of episodes, especially from SpongeBob, like when they really get into like the dark aspect of it, they're unsettling. They know how to pull it off, especially and it's so easy because you can go like because the show is so happy. So when you do something that's super super dark, it's gonna come off as like, ooh, that one is like, Even the slightest adjustment to the show, it's like you can pick up on it and it's unsettling. You don't like it. So I do agree with him. Like, this is the very these were the all they. Oh my god, I can't talk. These were the early moments of SpongeBob that really stuck with us because those are the first ones that we gravitated towards. So of course, this episode is gonna stick with us more, and it definitely did stick with me, but maybe not to the same extent as everybody else because it didn't really the scare factor wasn't all lit for me, only because of the other episodes I've seen from SpongeBob that terrified me even more. So this one didn't really gravitate, like, stick close to me like as everybody else, but it definitely was scary when I did watch it the few times I did, like the first times I did. It definitely did scare me, but it never stuck with me if that makes sense. But guys, this is the end of the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. Go to my Patreon where all of my block reactions will be without the blur and without the copyright. Please turn on your post notifications so you'll be notified every time I drop a new video. I greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, I'm out, guys.